Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, colloquially known by his initials MBS or MBS, is Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia. He also serves as the Chairman of the Council of Economic and Development Affairs and Chairman of the Council of Political and Security Affairs, also known as MBS, born August 31, 1985, member of the Saudi royal family who serves as Crown Prince, 2017, and Prime Minister, 2022, of Saudi Arabia. He also served as Minister of Defense, 2015 to 22. He is the son of Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz and his third wife Fadi bint Fila ibn Sultan. Early life. From a young age, Muhammad was interested in government, shadowing his father and remaining conscious about his image. Along the way he learned how to communicate with a wide variety of dignitaries and to avoid indiscretions. He attended King Saud University in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in law in 2007. He afterward founded a number of firms and a non-profit organization intended to promote entrepreneurship in the kingdom. In 2009 he became a formal advisor to his father, who was then governor of Riyadh. As Salman rose in rank and influence, eventually becoming Crown Prince in 2012, his trusted son Mohammed rose with him. In charge of defense and economic policy in January 2015, Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah died and Salman became king. He immediately appointed Muhammad as his defense minister. In a matter of months, Muhammad launched an aggressive military intervention in Yemen's civil war. Known as Operation Decisive Storm, the campaign intended to give the government of Yemeni President Abdrabbu Mansour Hadi a decisive advantage against the Shia Houthi insurgency in the north of the country. It was thought that a Houthi victory might give Iran, Saudi Arabia's main regional rival, a foothold along Saudi Arabia's southern border. The campaign, however, failed to turn the tide in the war and led to little more than a prolonged stalemate and one of the worst humanitarian crises in modern history. Muhammad was also placed in charge of the state oil company Aramco and the Council of Economic and Developmental Affairs, the country's primary policy-making body for economic development. He sought to open up Aramco for an initial public offering, IPO, and set out on bold development initiatives, such as his Vision 2030 plan designed to attract foreign investment for industries outside its energy sector. Some of these policies proved too ambitious, however. Though he anticipated Aramco to launch the world's largest IPO as early as 2017, the move was repeatedly delayed until the end of 2019. Crown Prince Mohammed was appointed Crown Prince in June 2017 and wasted no time pursuing his audacious goals. Just days later he spearheaded a multi-country blockade against Qatar, not only for its friendly stance toward Iran but also for its support for rival non-state actors in the region, such as the Muslim Brotherhood. Though the 3-year blockade led to a crisis for Qatar in the short term, the country used its wealth to reorient its economy away from reliance on its fellow Gulf countries. At times his assertiveness abroad backfired and led to international backlash. In November 2017, Lebanese Prime Minister Saad al-Hariri resigned suddenly under suspicious circumstances while on a visit to Riyadh. Only after significant international pressure was Hariri allowed to return to Lebanon, where he immediately suspended his resignation. The circumstances behind the bizarre episode remained unspoken, but the world's suspicions were reflected by Muhammad at an investment conference a year later when he cracked a joke about kidnapping Hariri. About the same time as Hariri's peculiar resignation, dozens of Saudi princes, business leaders, and senior officials were arrested. The maneuver was billed as an anti-corruption sweep. But because the detained individuals were some of the wealthiest and most powerful figures in the country, including mega-billionaire Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, many observers suspected the true purpose of the sweep was to secure power in Muhammad's hands. Many were released only after relinquishing partial control of their businesses to the state or paying billions of dollars. The Saudi government was believed to have collected more than $100 billion from the move. Despite the apparent shakedown, Muhammad had initially been hailed abroad as a reformer at home. often to the chagrin of conservative Saudis and the Wahhabi religious establishment. His policies began to relax many of the strict social restrictions for which Saudi Arabia was known. In line with his effort to boost tourism in the kingdom, a ban on cinemas was reversed, and women were allowed to attend sporting events. In 2018 he loosened the public dress code slightly by stating that women do not need to wear an abaya, a long black cloak, in public. Later that year women were allowed to obtain driver's licenses, enabling women to go to work or school or perform errands without accompaniment. Still, these steps toward liberalization appeared motivated by economic gain and not by a desire for freedom. While women were offered new choices that would allow them to earn and spend money without requiring their male guardians to provide constant consent and transportation, the government also cracked down on women activists who continued to press for more freedoms. In October 2018, Mohammed orchestrated the extrajudicial killing abroad of Jamal Khashoggi, a prominent journalist and exiled government critic who once served as an advisor and aide to a Saudi ambassador. On Mohammed's orders, Saudi operatives lured Khashoggi into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where they tortured and dismembered him. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan led the outcry against the killing, committed on Turkish soil against a dissident living in exile. It raised international concerns of both state sovereignty and human rights. The fallout was contained as the royal family continued to deflect responsibility for the incident, but Mohammed's image abroad had been tarnished. In March 2020, as the world began grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic, Mohammed once again detained fellow members of the Saudi royal family. Said to be under investigation for treason, the detainees included princes much closer to the throne, including King Salman's brother Ahmad and Mohammed bin Nayef, the former crown prince that Mohammed bin Salman had replaced. Meanwhile, the economic fallout from the pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine revitalized Mohammed's stature as a global economic player in 2022. As high oil prices and inflation plagued the economy the world over, Erdogan warmly received Mohammed in Turkey in June. And despite US President Joe Biden's earlier resolve to sideline Mohammed in U.S. Saudi relations, Biden met Mohammed face-to-face in July during a high-profile trip to Saudi Arabia. In September 2022 he was appointed Prime Minister, an office traditionally held by the king that oversees the Council of Ministers.